Yeah, items, normal.
Recommended one.
All right, everybody, welcome to what is finally going to be the start of the second game here with Concordia University's League of Legends team playing against UNA Gold. Um, I am actually not sure what UNA stands for, so we're just going to call them UNA Gold. A lot of teams are not putting in their full names and expecting everyone to know the acronym, and I'll look it up later. But welcome to this second game, and it's going to be a rather exciting one. So I will introduce a co-caster, one of my good friends. Josh Iron Prater is going to be, or Josh, aka the Iron Prater, is going to be joining me here in this cast.
Thank you, Ryan. Happy to be here as always.
And yeah, so let's do just kind of a quick rundown of both teams. On the side of Concordia University, the team that's gonna, hopefully win out here. We're gonna have Nami being played by Pinewall, Volibear by Mr. Boogie Woogie. We're gonna have El Gringazo on Varus, and we're gonna have the Bug on Anivia and Lego Grainer on Alawi. Over on the other side, you have Oof Monk playing Nico. We're going to have Cheddar Monk playing Ezreal. We'll have Milovey playing Seraphine. Dorkrai playing the Viego. And CTWM on the Malphite. Go ahead and run us through maybe a little bit, Josh, about thoughts here. We've got kind of a heavy disengage comp on the side of Concordia, but a pretty heavy poke comp on the side of UNA.
Thanks, Ryan. I definitely agree that Concordia seems to have poke. They also seem to have a good balance between engage and disengage tools with the Nami wave and the Varus ult, as well as the Alawi ults. So it's going to be really interesting to see exactly how these comps match up against each other, because I feel a lot of it's going to come down to, who's got the early leads and just skill levels in general, I think.
Yeah, and we saw in the picks and bans that UNA is pretty dang concerned about Lego Grainer. He is the plat player on this team, highest player on CUNE's team, and so obviously some concern there by them as kind of looking at his top lane play on this Alawi. That'll be a pretty big deal, especially since he is playing into the Malphite, but I think he'll just have a pretty big influence late game, as well as a little bit early game, being the better the more skilled player in that matchup. But yeah, as we get things lined up here, I will switch over to our in-game screen. And yes, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Really, I mean really hanging out with us. It's gonna be a really great match to watch. I think we're very excited, and the players are super pumped, especially after the previous win we had, and coming off of that victory. So we do have a sub coming in. I guess we had a sub in the previous game. Oscar Moss was playing the top lane Darius there. And this time we've got Lego Grainer coming in. He's the main man that will be on the top side and on the main roster. But right now, just a standard setup for CUNE. Just kind of making sure that we've got everything covered ward-wise, throughout throughout the river here. And looks like UNA was kind of looking to do anything against or was looking as if someone was going to invade. So we'll just get off to a pretty standard start here. What do you think we need to be looking at early-wise here, Josh?
So early-wise, I think I am most interested in how well Anivia is able to get farm up against Seraphine poke. Personally, haven't played much Seraphine. Haven't seen a whole lot of Seraphine play, so I don't know the Seraphine matchup personally. I do think that the Varus is going to be a very interesting pick, and I wonder whether he's going to go the more standard lethality build, or if he's going to go something more like a traditional ADC build or something in between, just because you do have a fairly tanky Malphite there, I assume, and so I would be very concerned later on that Malphite getting into the back line and just disrupting that Varus, because having played against many Malphites as an ADC, that is always your biggest fear against the Malphite, right?
Absolutely, and it will actually be the we'll have the Nico mid against that Anivia, not the Seraphine into the mid lane. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. You know, with champions that can go either way like that, kind of a pain in the butt. But we will see a gank coming here into this bot lane as El Green Gonzo might get found out. Pinewall also in some trouble, chunked down to almost no health. First blood gonna go over to Doorcry, but Cheddar Monk gonna find, oh man, a lot of chunked damage there, getting hit by the turret.
Yeah, definitely. The other important thing I forgot to mention that could be a big player here. Ezreal can output a lot of damage, and especially late game. And so having that Viego, if Malphite and Nico and Seraphine are able to get good setups, and you know, all you need is one reset on Viego a lot of the time, and you just really start to go off. So it's going to be really interesting to see if the more poke sort of defensive comp from Concordia will be able to poke out that Viego before he's able to really dive in there and get those resets and do some damage.
Absolutely. We'll see now that even as we're kind of going through things, that early gank is going to really help out Viego. He's going to have a pretty good option now. He just cleared out the bottom side of his jungle is all and was able to get that first blood. So even though the CS is in favor of the Volibear at the moment, it's still pretty even in gold just because that first blood kind of offsets that and sets it in motion for him. Going to be a bit of an engage here as Mr. Boogie Woogie's just come up. He's just going to look around, kind of see if there's anything in the area. No wards, and I don't know if he totally showed top lane. I'm thinking maybe he did, so they'll know that he is in the vicinity, and CTWM is just going to have to play safe, which right now he is really starting to lose out on some of the CS. So the Alawi out of Lego is probably just going to continue to scale here. Scary situation.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something you always gotta be mindful of. Is a lot of times, I mean, there's a lot of skill involved in these games, but a lot of it just comes down to, you know, who gets the most gold. And I want to point out that, you know, even though Viego did get that kill down bot lane, the Varus is pretty decently ahead of. Oh, we might have a gank top.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be coming in again. Lego Grainer trying to fight for his life up here, but he's going to get taken out by another kill there from Dork. And so, wow, this this Viego really having an influence on the map right now.
Yeah, the real question is, are we going to see that influence? Oh, that's an aggressive TP.
Aggressive TP coming in, and the Viego is still here. So Lego Grainer going to be in some trouble as he's trying to find some sort of a kill back. He will be able to get his ultimate. He does find a kill. He might be able to find two even if he gets this one in time. He's back to full healthy again. My goodness, what a fight. I mean, it felt like an aggressive TP coming in. He's chasing. He's going to get it with the Q. And that will be the shutdown going over to the top laner, the last person that UNA wanted it to go to.
Yeah, it's the other problem when you... Oh.
Another engage here as coming back in. Maybe he'll be able to get it if he's got the Q again. Ooh, that's going to give Lego some health back. But I have just been informed by chat, by the way, that UNA stands for University of North Alabama. So we actually have something to refer to them now. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier. Lego Grainer still just really low, but his mid laner was up here. Wasn't quite able to get that. There's going to be the wall. Whole lot going on. Mr. Boogie Woogie's going to find himself on the wrong side of Oof Monk. He's going to try and get that shield. That's going to give him some health. However, the smite from Oof, or the smite there is going to keep him rather healthy. Resurrect coming down now on the bug. So after some more hectic fights there, it's going to be a trade 2 in the favor of the University of North Alabama. They'll also pick up Dragon here. That's going to be the first Drake picked up. Obviously, with the death of the jungler for Concordia, they were able to pick up that advantage. He's also hanging around the bot lane looking for another gank there. Gold in favor of them at the moment. But the CS top lane is definitely in favor of Lego Grainer. CS mid lane slowly creeping up in favor of the Bug, as he's got level 6, so he's able to sort of win that completely now. And down bot lane, actually El Gringonzo is picking himself up a very nice pick. A number of gold.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it also is important to note that both teams have a decent amount of scaling. UNA having the Ezreal, who scales very well into the late game, and Concordia having their Anivia, who is also a very strong late game character. But it's very interesting to see how the Viego worked, in that, you know, it's good to get ahead, but when your jungler's the one that gets ahead, it could end up, you know, if they get caught, another lane getting fed, you know, get that shutdown. Oh!
Right, and there's going to be a catch here as Oofmonk is going to slay Mr. Boogie Woogie. So getting caught out there, he was looking around for some wards in the area, but just didn't really seem to have a pretty good, didn't have a good idea of where the rest of the team was for the University of North Alabama. So North Alabama able to find that. There's going to be the ult onto Lego Grainer, as he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He'll try to flash his ult, but he's not going to be able to get anything for it on the other end. The Bug able to get out of Oofmonk's ultimate there, but unfortunately it looks like the University of North Alabama will find the Rift Herald and a kill, or 2 kills, in that area. Both of which going on to, both of which I believe going on to the Malphite here, so it might give him a little boost up against the Alawi.
Yeah, definitely. That was a little bit of some aggressive positioning by the Alawi, because there's not really any way to, when there's 3 people up there and the rest of your team spread across the map, there's not really any way to contest that. So honestly, in that sort of scenario, it's almost better, I think, personally, to you know, try and trade turret plates elsewhere, because the other lanes aren't guarded, because the Nico was there, their top laner was there, you know, and it's better, you're more likely to get advantages pushing that trade in other places.
No, you're correct in that. It's one of those things where your jungler died, so what are you going to get? What more value are you going to find from, like, going in there to poke at the team? So should have just let them have the Rift Herald. They'll have to use it somewhere. Unfortunately, they might get a lot of plates or something out of it, but that's just going to have to be how it is, because you don't have a jungler to help out with that. A little bit of a tussle here between Lego Grainer and CTW, but look, there's coming in from behind. Is that Viego? So Lego Grainer's going to have to be careful here. He is able to get his ultimate off, but man, there's just too much burst out of this Viego for it to even matter.
Yeah, I think pre first item at least, Alawi, while her kit is strong, it's not necessarily, especially if your ult's down, it's not really a situation where you can effectively 2v1, especially against the Viego with the sustain and the tanky Malphite. It's kind of, you back off, you respect the fact that
El Krinko going in way too deep, as he's just going to get destroyed there. He went in and flash ulted, but unfortunately it just looks like that on the side of Concordia wasn't ready for that. The jungler on Concordia's side wasn't ready for that. This is going to be a big fight coming through here, though, in the top lane, as Lego Grainer will end up finding Dork and getting the kill there. And fortunately, with the Anivia egg, the Bug is going to be pretty safe there.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely one place you don't want to fight the Alawi, is in those tight jungle corridors where those tentacles are really hard to dodge.
Yeah, there's no room to maneuver there whenever she finally hops in there and starts throwing those around. But once again, an unfortunate situation for Concordia. Their bot lane are 0-2, still ahead in CS, so there is still a chance that the Varus can still do damage. He's not going to be terribly behind. However, he's not going to maybe be that carry that they can look to late game. Same thing with the Anivia, no kills, no deaths or anything. Getting ahead CS-wise, which is good. Actually doing very well CS-wise. 98 CS here at like a little over 12 minutes. So there is still a pretty good chance both sides have sort of their pluses and both sides have sort of a minus as well. So right now, the influential person, of course, for North Alabama is that Viego. And every time he roams, he has been basically successful in his ganks. So that's going to be a big scare for Concordia, and Concordia is having a little bit of a hit or miss. Top lane and mid lane are doing well. The jungle has not found any success, and the bot lane, while has died twice, still has a pretty decent CS advantage down there. They'll start pinging now onto this Drake, which is a very important thing right now, but it looks like University of North Alabama might just be ready for such an event as this. 3 of them hop over the wall. They'll hop onto Mr. Boogie Woogie, but that's going to be a lot of stuff going down, but blue team will get the dragon. They're also going to get 2 kills for that. Almost find a third, but the Anivia is, of course, going to wall that off. So that's 2 Drakes over to the side of North Alabama, and man, it is starting to look a little bit rough there in that team fight scenario, but Concordia just wasn't ready.
Yeah, definitely, and I think they didn't quite, looks like they didn't quite respect the potential for collapse from UNA, because Viego looked like he was down in bot lane farming when all that was happening, and got to the fight late, and Anivia was well, I think Anivia was actually, we got a tussle top lane.
A big tussle here, plenty of health, and the turret's just now going to look at him, but man, it's going to be real close. He's going to have to stay under turret if he wants to live, and will that get him? It will. It'll just find him there. So it is going to be a shutdown. So in the end, it sort of wins in the fate. It is a win for the Alawi, simply because of the shutdown.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that'll be interesting is if the game gets far enough in, UNA doesn't have, Viego has sustain obviously built into his kit, and I'm sure the Ezreal will pick up a little bit of sustain. But the rest of the team, they got some of the Seraphine shields, but Varus can do some huge damage with those late game arrows, just shredding through, the not very tanky Seraphine and the also fairly squishy Nico as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they get late enough where those Qs really start to hurt, and they're already doing damage. Seraphine backing off because she's getting low.
Yeah, it just flashed to her for half a second. She's just looking for any way to get out of there. It will be key, the trading between the 80 carries down here. Once we get out of laning phase, though, very curious. The top lane turret has fallen. Ooh, Cheddar Monk might be finding something, but that is going to be CTWM coming into the bot lane. Pinewell trying to keep El Gringazo alive. He's trying to look for some sort of a kill there to trade back. It's not going to happen. CTWM, though, going to chase Pinewell down under this turret, and she probably is not going to last long. She will get that off, and he'll take 2 turret hits, and that will actually dissuade him from continuing any further. The rest of Concordia's team also looking that direction. It looks like they're just going to stop and get the blue buff, though, so we might go back into a bit of a lull here. Unless Lego wants to keep chasing. He's not going to, and they will take the bottom turret. Just a lot of chaos there in that last exchange, as right now, really not looking good for CUNE, as they're struggling in a couple of these individual fights. Now suddenly, how I was mentioning before, it's an even fight between them in the bot lane. It's now turning in the favor of that Ezreal. It's Concordia trying to find some sort of mid lane pressure here, but they gotta respect the fact that 2 members have come up from North Alabama. But that's gonna be a mistake on the side of Dork, because he's gonna get caught out. Lego Grainer going in deep, trying to find more. He's got the turret shooting him, and it's probably gonna take him out. That will be a 1-for-3 trade, though. And Concordia will even find a turret. That's going to be CTW coming in. He's going to have a huge amount of burst, though, and hit hard. Boogie Woogie's going to go down. The Bug should be able to get away from this. and he will successfully get away. Lot of hard hit there out of the Malphite.
Yeah, for sure, and it's one of those things where you definitely want to know when to not overstay your welcome. You want to have good communication with your team and understanding what your threats are, but at the same time, when you see those threats, just knowing that, yeah, we can turn on them and just, immediately destroy Viego before he knows what hit him. And then just also having the confidence to be able to tower dive that Nico. Just, I honestly don't know.
Oh, here, this is a really good poke here from the Bug. He's able to trap the Malphite in there. They will get Rift Herald here, so this turret does not have much longer to live. So they're going to have to be careful that huge chunk onto Oof Monk. But with the tower down, Dork's able to go in. He does get the Anivia egg through. It's not going to be much more than that. Huge damage going to get tossed onto that. They'll be able to stop the second charge, which is actually very critical in that moment. And no members from Concordia will fall. But neither will anybody from North Iowa either. Mr. Boogie Woogie, though, is going to be on the wrong side of this. He'll get a shield from that, but he is in kind of the wrong spot. Now the Malphite looking to run because he's going to get caught out by the rest of the team. That's going to be Cheddar Monk trying to find some damage onto Lego Grainer. Mr. Boogie Woogie's going in a little bit too deep. Not going to be able to get the disengage ultimate too early there from the Nami. That's going to be a massive ult coming down from Oof Monk. As that's going to be a double kill, though, for the Concordia side. And then Cheddar Monk's going to get a kill there as well. So there, this 1v1 is not going to go very well for El Gringazo as he's going to almost took another Q there. He'll hit back with one as the third Drake goes down, and that was not a good exchange. It was a 4-for-1 trade. Or was it a 4-for-2? It said there was a double kill, but I wasn't quite sure who the other person was on that.
Yeah, I didn't see who the other death was, but that was a very good turnaround by UNA. I have to say, just the Malphite having the confidence to sort of just walk his way out, and then the moment his team arrives, just immediately turning that engage back in. And like I said, I think at the start of the game, the wombo combo of potential ults with the Malphite followed up by the Seraphine, which sets up for the Nico ult.
Big ultimate there coming out of El Gringo's, but Gringazo, but yeah, not enough here to take out Cheddar Monk. But you're absolutely correct in talking about the ults that they can pool together. Boogie Woogie coming in, but he's going to get a 2v1 situation, and CTWM is here finding both the AD carry and the support. How unfortunate there in the top side. Lego Grinder trying to find anything he can, and a double kill going to come through. As I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He's got the Bug here, but there's 4 members of North Alabama, and all Concordia is doing is splitting up and moving around. So the Bug is here, but man, there's just nothing he can do. He's going to get caught out and taken down in this situation. Unfortunate indeed.
Yeah, for sure. And the problem with all those ganks early for that Malphite is that Malphite is super strong. And I don't know if you saw in that last tussle there, Alawi was just hammering on him. And Alawi was getting decent sustain back, but Malphite was taking next to no damage because, he's already stacked armor. And Alawi, unless she's going to go a more damaged build, is not necessarily going to be picking up the armor pen items to really deal out that damage. And there's a lot of good warding happening on the side of UNA and not as much on Concordia's side. And that's what set up for that real big tussle down their bot lane is Volibear and Anivia were out there ready to fight. And Malphite was in the middle of Concordia's jungle and just decided, oh, me and Ezreal can dive the back line. And there's nobody there to protect him. They're both squishy. Malphite can tank, and Ezreal's just gonna do Ezreal things. It's a very hard point in this game to be in. For Concordia.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's starting to look more and more like Concordia is going to lose control of this game a little bit. They'll pick up the bottom turret, but now they got to be careful of the fact that there are 3 Drakes on the side of Northern Alabama. And so, you know, they have to contest for the 4th and final Drake, you know, not let them get the Drake buff there. And also, you know, be looking out because the team fights are not going in their direction. The counter engage out of Concordia is good, but it's not quite good enough, especially whenever it's not CC'd correctly. Concordia is split up around here. This is not going to be a good situation for them. Boogie Woogie trying his best. However, he's going to go down as they were just caught out of position there. It's going to be a straight-up 4v5 team fight coming through between them. And we'll see what happens here as they're trying really hard, but that's going to be a really big ultimate coming out of CTWM. They will end up finding him. He is not going to find any kills on that side yet. Ooh, that Ezreal ult just brought a ton of them to death's door, but he'll still be able to get that. They will find a big kill there. Triple kill going over to the Anivia of Concordia. So Concordia able to win out on that fight, even though they were a man down, just because a little bit too much aggression coming out of the side of North Alabama. Ooh, and the shutdown coming through there at the very end as Concordia finding just a little breath of life. They are pinging on to Baron Nashor. We'll see if they end up going for it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think they're just going to ward up for it because I don't think any of them have the health bars to really go for it.
No, you're correct.
Ezreal there.
Yeah.
Ezreal there getting just a little too cocky, trying to get the Anivia, not respecting the amount of damage that the empowered Varus Q can do. The W damage is execute based, so the lower your health, the more damage bonus that active gets, and it'll just pop you if you're low damage.
It looks like we'll be setting up now for this last Drake, which is honestly on the side of Northern Alabama. Very, very smart. Lego Grinder might find himself in a little bit of a situation. He's getting kind of slowed there. They'll end up getting the stun, and a lot of fight is going to suddenly start happening here as CTWM has to find his way out. Lego Grainer is going to get one kill there. Then will he find a second one? El Gringonzo will slay. This is a fight going very heavily in Concordia's favor. They will lose one, and they will take out all except the Ezreal, who was never even close to this fight. So a very big mistake there from Northern Alabama as they took a fight without their AD carry, and also just flat out, I feel like, didn't respect the amount of engage on the side of Concordia. What do you think on that fight there? It was kind of, I didn't think they were going to get it.
I was very concerned, but I also noticed now that for that fight, in addition to positioning, the Concordia team picked up two big power spikes. You have the man immune on the Varus, who that arrow and the rest of his autos and abilities are going to be doing extra damage thanks to that man immune. And you also have the completed Seraphron for Anivia there. And those are some decent items, giving them pretty good power spikes, you know, compared to their counterparts. Obviously, the Ezreal is still pretty strong.
This is a very dangerous Baron. I'm glad that CUNE is pulling off of it because it is about to get them all killed. They were taking way too much damage. They didn't have the Volibear there, and they weren't all there at the same time to start poking it down. That would have been a catastrophe if they had gotten caught out there in that situation. So I'm glad they pulled off on it. They're going to regroup. Now, though, we're going to see that Northern Alabama is going to have an opportunity to go for this. I'll lower that for a little bit. Ooh, Pinewall just barely missing, getting destroyed, but looks like Lego Grainer is going to get caught out big time. Huge ultimate coming through, but unfortunately, nothing going to happen. There's going to be a double kill going in favor of Northern Alabama, and that is going to mean the Baron going over to them.
Yeah, and that's a real shame. The problem.
Maybe they'll do a little bit here, but Pinewall just gets caught out there in the back, and that's unfortunate. They'll keep doing this Baron as CTWM is really low, but he'll just get healed right back up. So, no, keep going with what you were saying on that last fight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the problem with that, at least the start of that last Baron, is that Anivia didn't get over there. You had Varus hitting on it, but Varus is not going a hyper carry or a standard ADC build. He's going lethality, and his autos are slow. And while they kind of hit hard,
Yeah, big damage
And it
going down onto the
is
bug, but he'll flash out and live for now.
the red buff burn, not quite enough, but you know, Anivia in a lot of these sustained fights, your traditional ADC is not going to be your sustained damage. It's actually going to be your mid laner Anivia with her ult and her occasional E's, especially the empowered E's, doing a lot of extra damage. And she wasn't there to help with the Baron until, you know, midway through, and Alawi wasn't super tanky yet, and Volibear wasn't super tanky yet, and so, you know, they're trying to eat it, but they don't have the damage resistance to, you know, tank that Baron, and so it just put them in a really bad position where then they got some good, the Alawi got picked off, and then the Nami got picked off, and they weren't in a good position after that to really contest against that Baron.
Correct. And now they have to deal with a Baron buffed up minions coming through. Looks like right now they'll be able to hold most things. And honestly, most times that Concordia has gone for some sort of an engage, they've had a lot of success with that. CTWM getting a little bit of damage there from the Anivia, who really is the only person on the team for Concordia who can do, you know, pretty big damage to him. He's got the Bramble Velt and a lot of other things that are just going to cause the AD carry or anyone else to be very slow with the damage onto him. They'll be able to clear him out pretty well with the Anivia ult, so not a ton of damage going to come down onto this turret. I guess really would have liked to have seen Northern Alabama, instead of trying to shove it up mid lane, split and try to draw attention to the side lanes and maybe get one of those. Really should have been what they did there, but for now they're doing all right. The Baron buff should be wearing off here relatively soon, and we'll see another Drake coming up here in just a couple minutes, so that'll probably be the next point of contention for both of these teams to fight around. Right now, both. Go ahead.
I was just, it's probably definitely going to be the next focal point, because with UNA having the Baron, all the minions are going to be pushing away from their turrets, and so all those second tier turrets that Concordia would want to be getting, you know, it's not on the table, because they can't push the waves far enough in to even consider getting damage on those turrets. Now I think we're going to have that fight here at Dragon.
Yeah, looking right now as the Ezreal ult to try and chunk some damage down. Lego Grainer trying to push in best that he can. They're going to get some damage down. They will push Northern Alabama off of this. Obviously, there are still a lot of things on the side of Concordia that they have to respect. Lego Grainer is positioning himself between himself and the rest of the team. He'll throw down his ultimate, get a lot going. They're going to find one. They'll hit the Viego. They're going to find maybe a second here in Oof Monk. They will end up getting that Cheddar Monk. Going to be very low. Lego Griner going to find himself going down to CTWM, and they're going to be chunking as much damage as they can into him. They're also going to be trying to look for this Drake, which that's a lot of damage going on to Gregazo. Oh, man, and that CTWM is going to take him down. El Gregazo is going to go down to CTWM. And unfortunately, what looked like a winning fight there from Concordia turns into a loss for them, as CTWM trying to now chase down this Anivia. He's got to be careful, though, because he is not built to defend against this. He'll actually end up going down to that. So all in all, a 4-for-4 exchange across the board, but looks like, at least for now, that fourth Drake does go over to the side of Northern Alabama, and they get a turret out of it. So overall, net win for them.
Yeah, for sure. And it started out as a sketchy fight, because you know, the Viego started the engage, and one versus 4 with the Viego, even backed up by the Seraphine ult, it looked like it. Not even close to enough, and Viego just exploded, which is, as Concordia, that's what you want. You want to take the Viego with all those resets out early, and then the fight was going well, but they started getting low, and the Malphite was able to take out a pair of them with the well-placed ultimate, and they weren't quite able to catch the Ezreal either, who was able to just, you know, keep sticking his head back in and poking him down, and Malphite was applying pressure. And it was actually the Ezreal, unfortunately, that secured that dragon for him. I was a little disappointed in that because the dragon looked to me like it went over to Anivia, but I guess Ezreal somehow snuck in one last poke onto it.
Looks like the bug is going to find Dork, but maybe not enough damage as he will survive for now. Ooh, huge chunk, though, from that Ezreal, who is really hitting hard at this stage in the game. Finding tons of damage and also, you know, just staying alive, staying pretty far in the back. He knows that he's a pretty big target, but he's actually even able to keep himself safe from this Alawi. I mean, he was actually, I think, 1v1ing the Alawi in that previous fight, so unfortunate for CUW or CUNE as they're trying to find this CTW here. Finds a little bit of damage. The rest of his team is there to back him up, so we'll see what happens as he's moving around. He does have his ultimate back up, so he's looking for something here in the tight corridors, that is the jungle, to use his ultimate as they take that second turret on them in the mid lane. A lot of damage coming down as Concordia is now looking to fight in front of one of their inhib turrets. More damage coming through as both sides are trying to find some sort of advantage. Mr. Boogie Woogie is going to go in on that Ezreal, who's a little bit caught out on his own. That's going to be the Seraphine going down, but Mr. Boogie Woogie will also go down in that fight as well. Lego Greater fighting for his life there, but Pinewall is going to find death on that side as too. So a couple trades back and forth. Lego Grinder gonna get hit by CTWM. It's gonna be a massive amount of damage. Cheddar Monk is very low. He's gonna get sniped out by El Gringazo. So that's 3 ultimately in the total exchange. El Gringazo doing a lot of damage here, looking for more. But Oof Monk and CTWM are just gonna pull back as they should, because between the two carries of Concordia, they might not last too long if they misplace an ability or get hit by another Q.
Yeah, for sure. A little interesting. It looks like he might be heading towards it now. I was going to comment on Paris's third item choice being the Collector, getting that execution damage, which, while being useful, considering the current state of the game, I actually would have opted for an early Cyrilda's Grudge, which gives you ability haste, it gives you the armor pen, and it also slows enemies when you hit them with your abilities. And that's, especially if you're behind, that's usually a pretty standard build, especially against a Malphite of this size, where you need your damage to matter. Looks like they might be forcing the Baron.
Yeah, if they can force this Baron, they're pulling off of it now, just sort of maybe seeing if there's some vision in there, getting CUNE to react to it. You know, obviously, there's a bit, like a little under 2 minutes at this point until the next dragon, which is an Elder Dragon. The bug falling for that there. He needs to try and get back with the team, but it looks like he's not going to get cut off as Northern Iowa decides to focus on this mid lane a little bit more. And we'll see now as a fight comes through, the bug moving back in with the team. CTWM looking to take some sort of a fight here. And they will find a pretty big root onto Mr. Boogie Woogie. Even more damage down there. Oh, man, this is going to go totally south for Concordia as they are ending this, as Northern Alabama is looking to end this right here and now. That's going to be 4 players out. El Gringazo is the only one left. He's going to get chased. He's going to get stunned, and he'll get killed there. And that'll be the inhib turret. That will end up being the game because that is too much time on those death timers.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but giving over that soul point was actually very impactful, just because you already have a lot of hard hitters, especially from the Ezreal, and just when you give them more damage like that, it makes for a hard comeback. So.
Absolutely. Well, that will do it all for us tonight with the stream here and everything. So thank you once again, Josh, for joining me here in this cast. And we will have a break over the weekend. No more streams for a while, but we'll see everybody back next Tuesday for Week 2, Rocket League NECC activation action. We'll see y'all then.